we have seen today. The headlines: exemption limit on tax raised by 50,000 rupees. Savings limit under Section 80C is now 1.5 lakh rupees. Housing loan exemption limit also raised by 50,000 rupees. Prime Minister Modi calls it a budget that converts hopes and aspirations of the people into trust. Says his government is committed to possible help to the poor, the new middle class and the middle class.
Focus on priority areas and core sectors have been launched.
This is not going to contain inflation. This is not going to expand growth, expand employment.
Government acts on your wish list. 3 of the 5 taxes you wanted changed have been acted upon by the Finance Minister. It's a CNNIB tax impact. Foreign direct investment cap in insurance raised from 26% to 49%. FDI limit in defense production also hiked to 49%. Arun Jaitley keeps the fiscal deficit target of 4.1% set by Mr. Chidambaram in the interim budget.
But as an independent industrialist, I think it's pro reform.
We've never heard something like this, and the government RBI should be complimented for this.
There's a thumbs up from the industry. Markets see volatile trade before ending flat today. So there are lots to look forward to over the next hour. Because say the real fine print of this entire budgetary exercise really lies in what is the political import, the political thought behind the entire process itself. Let me just recapture for you some of the top points that have been made today by Mr. Jaitley in his maiden budget. Some relief for taxpayers first by Mr. Modi's led government. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has raised exemption limits for the salaried class by 50,000 rupees across the board. The limit on savings under Section 80C has been hiked to 1.5 lakh rupees. Exemption on home loan interest has also been hiked to 2 lakh rupees. The FDI in defense and insurance sector hiked to 49%. Government has set a disinvestment target of over 63,000 crores this year, 43,000 crores of which are to come from PSU stake sales. He's also kept the fiscal deficit target at 4.1% of the GDP, coming down to 3% over the next 2 years. But no change in the retrospective taxation law, although the Finance Minister has assured that his government would examine each case judiciously through CBDT panel. Hiking exemption limits were a few of the demands that CNNIB had presented to Arun Jaitley as part of its AXA tax campaign. Now, this is what has happened, and this is what we had proposed. Taxable income limit hiked by 50,000 rupees across the board. We had asked the threshold to be raised to 5 lakh rupees. Limit on savings under Section 80C has been hiked to 1.5 lakh rupees, while our recommendation was for a hike to 3 lakh rupees. Home loan interest exemption limit has been hiked to 2 lakhs. We'd asked for a hike to 3 lakh rupees. The Finance Minister hasn't made any changes in tax slabs, but has made a few changes in the tax structure. Here's how it will impact your wallet. Annual savings from the hike in tax exemption limit is 5,000 rupees. For senior citizen, the exemption limit is 3 lakhs. That leads to a saving of 5,000 rupees annually. Savings cap under Section 80C has been hiked from 1 lakh to 1.5 lakh rupees. Now, if you happen to be in the 10% tax bracket, your saving will be 5,000 rupees. In the 20% tax bracket, your savings would be 10,000 rupees. In the 30% tax bracket, you would end up saving 50,000 rupees annually. Housing loan interest exemption increased from 1.5 lakhs to 2 lakhs. And the same happens to be the impact on across the sectors, because if you happen to be in that limit of tax bracket of 20%, you will end up saving again 10,000 rupees. If you are in the limit of 30%, you will end up saving 15,000 rupees.
This government will not ordinarily bring any change prospectively which creates a fresh liability. We are committed to providing a stable and predictable taxation regime which would be investor-friendly and spur growth. All cases arising out of the retrospective amendments of 2012 in respect of indirect transfers and coming to the notice of assessing officers will be scrutinized by a high-level committee to be constituted by the CBDT before any action is initiated in such cases. The debate on whether to use the goods and services tax must now come to an end. I have discussed the matter with the states both individually and collectively. I do hope we are able to bring a final solution in this course of this year and approve the legislative scheme which enables the introduction of the GST. Several segments of the insurance sector need an expansion. The composite cap of the insurance sector is proposed to be increased up to 49% from the current level of 26%, with full management and control through the FDOT.
Now, there's a reaction that has come from Prime Minister Narendra Modi as well, because remember that since this was the first budget being presented by the BJP-led government, the real question being raised was, where will the imprint of Mr. Modi be on this budget? And we'll look at that question with our guests in a few moments from now. But this is the reaction coming from the Prime Minister. He says, and I quote, "This is a budget that converts hopes and aspirations of the people into trust. New ray of hope for the poor and downtrodden. The budget will give an impetus to people's participation and people's power. The budget is an effort to make India skilled digital. Railway budget and general budget shows that we are moving in the right direction. Despite testing times, the government is committed to extend every possible help to the poor, the new middle classes and the middle classes," unquote. We got a reaction from the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh as well, who released a statement on the budget. He said, and I quote, "How will it be achieved? It is yet to be seen. There are no road maps in the budget. Just like the rail budget, there are no specifics in this budget." Manmohan Singh speaking about containing the fiscal deficit to 4.1% as committed to by Mr. Jaitley. Now, Congress President Sonia Gandhi has also spoken out. She has dismissed the budget rather predictably. She says, and I quote, "This budget has nothing new. It continues with the UPA's policies." So let's take that question now across to all our panelists. Representing the BJP, Meenakshi Lekhi, BJ Panda, Member of Parliament from the Biju Janata Dal, Manish Tiwari representing the Congress. Welcome to all of you on the program. Meenakshi Lekhi, let me first begin with you. The criticisms, ma'am, that I have seen right through the day today is that you promised the moon. You promised Achhe Din during the election campaign, but comes to the question of delivery, it's almost as if that your standard excuse is that, listen, we just don't have any elbow room. How do you respond to that criticism, Meenakshi ji?
I can only say that there is no elbow room, and that's why we were voted in. Had the previous governments performed their duty in all earnest, they wouldn't have faced the route that they have. And there was absolute policy paralysis. Investor confidence was low. Economic growth rate was low, and fiscal situation is bad. There is no going back on this. Now, considering these situations, there was no elbow room, and yet to boost the economy, we have made certain policy measures. And when we have undertaken those policy measures, we have strengthened the NDA theme, which is working out with the infrastructures and changing the economy by creating assets and containing people's differences by providing employment opportunities. PPP, PSU's investment, infrastructure development, all the mode, and of course capitalizing bank and capitalizing on insurance sector is one way of achieving that.
May I just put one number before you, Meenakshi? May I just put one number before you? You know, Mr. Jaitley today was at great pains to point out that he was committing himself to containing the fiscal deficit at 4.1% and going to the extent of suggesting that it will be less than 3.5, 3.7% in the next 2 years. Now, I'm looking at the fine print of this budget, and I'm not seeing any great being made by the government to reduce its own spending. Now, if your spending is not being reduced, new sources of revenue are not coming in, how is this fiscal deficit, ma'am, then going to be contained?
No. You see, there are two ways of achieving this. One is containing your expenditure, or containing your expenditure and then you reduce the availability of funds. The other is by giving seed money to various projects and bringing in the money by economic overall. And that is what is the difference between the pre-budgets and this budget.
No, but listen, no, ma'am, you see, that's not a factual position. You're talking about seed money, the seed money that you're talking about. It's, I mean, you've chosen 4 or 5 projects where you have allocated 100 crores. Surely you're not telling me that on the basis of these few schemes worth 100 crores each.
100 crore. No. 100 crore is just one way. You've not paid attention to insurance and defense.
Okay.
Where 51% stays with the government and 49% FDI has been brought in.
Manish Tiwari, you buy that?
That is where...
Manish, you buy that? Do you buy that? Meenakshi Lekhi telling us that because the insurance and the defense sectors, the FDI in these two sectors has been hiked from 26 to 49%. Therefore, this target of 4.1%, which is now being spoken about, is manageable, is achievable?
Upin, let me start by saying that this budget has been extremely high on rhetoric and completely low on delivery. A budget, and especially the first budget of any government, is a vision statement about what they consider to be the economic trajectory of the nation. And unfortunately, despite its grandiloquence, there has been no roadmap, or there has been no direction which has been set out concretely, either for the agriculture sector, or for the manufacturing sector, or for the services sector. In fact, social sector spending almost across the board has been slashed, and whatever social schemes have been continued are schemes which were actually were conceptualized and were being implemented by the previous UPA government. Now, coming to the two specific FDI proposals which you talked about, you see, insofar as defense is concerned, 49% with FIBP permission was already permitted. Beyond 49%, with the permission of the Cabinet Committee on Security, a foreign direct investment was already permitted. In fact, if you look at the BrahMos project, where Russia is a joint venture partner, their equity is above 51%. So therefore, I do not think that even in case of defense manufacturing, 49%, and that also management control through the FIBP route, is going to enthuse anybody. And insofar as insurance is concerned, it's quite an oxymoron that after opposing insurance reforms, for 10 long years, the first thing this government decides to do is to increase it from 26 to 49. But 49% is not what enthuses us today across the board in any situation, notwithstanding the jugglery of words in terms of management control, etc. Coming back to the other points of the budget, possibly this budget would be remembered for the number of commissions that it has announced in terms of trying to look at different areas which the government feels need to be reformed. But concretely speaking, even in terms of containing the fiscal deficit to 4.1%, if there is going to be a contraction of expenditure, then your GDP is not going to go up. And if there is going to be public expenditure, then even going by the back of the envelope estimates, in terms of the schemes outlined in this budget, I think the fisc would end up at about 6%. So therefore, the numbers do not add up. If you really go into the budget, even cursorily, right, you find that there are large gaps which have not been explained. And what is peculiarly disappointing is that for a new government, which has come in with a mandate, as Meenakshi Lekhi was talking about, what possibly the industry, the investors, and the Aam Aadmi were looking for is, some grand vision as to what exactly do they intend doing. And last but not the least, you have nothing for the common man at all. The headline inflation, the food inflation that they kept talking about, there are no steps to mitigate that food inflation.
But say all that is just a legacy of the Congress party. Many would say that it's just a legacy of the Congress party, Mr. Tiwari. But be that as it may, you're right. It's your right now, since you're in the opposition, to be criticizing the budget, just like it was the BJP's right when the BJP was in opposition. But BJ Panda, come into the debate. Where do you stand on this one? That is this the budget which lays the foundation for arrival of Achhe Din for the common man of this country?
First of all, please allow me to begin with a comment. I can't resist saying this.
Sure.
If this exact same budget had been presented by Shri Chidambaram, then my two co-panelists would have been using the exact same lines, but using each other's lines.
Right. So effectively, you're saying that this is nothing else but a continuation of UPA's policies.
Let's see the context. No, I think there is some continuation. For example, the food subsidy has been increased by 25% to 1,15,000 crores. That is clearly a continuation of the UPA's policies. But at the same time, the petroleum subsidy has been reduced by 26%, which is clearly the opposite of what the UPA was doing. So in some ways it is a continuation, in some ways it is not a continuation. I think we must give the benefit of doubt to a new government which has inherited a real mess of an economy. And the kind of drastic targets that Mr. Jaitley has announced on the fiscal deficit is I think, something that really needs to be focused on. because accepting the 4.1 challenge which has been left by the previous government and then projecting a 3% fisc in 2016-17 is extremely aggressive. And I'll tell you why this is very crucial, because the fisc is the linchpin on which inflation and on which rupee devaluation runs. So, I mean, I could go on and on, but I think this is indicative that they are indeed taking big steps and we must wait and watch.
So you believe that it's a wait and watch policy? I mean, you don't think that one should be outrightly dismissive as the Congress and the Trinamool Congress and some other parties are suggesting about this budget?
No, I think that's simple politics. I don't think we should be dismissive. Of course, everybody hasn't got everything. Now, for example, in Odisha, we have been asking for 2,000 crores extra for PM-GSY roads. Mr. J. 1,000 crores or not, so we may not be very satisfied with what we get. But we have got other things. We've got an IIM for the state. So, you know, everybody has their own level of satisfaction or dissatisfaction. But if you look at the whole picture, the big picture, I think you have to commend the fact that they have taken rather bold and decisive steps with a huge thrust on infrastructure and rural development.
Okay, so bold and decisive steps with emphasis on infrastructure and rural development. Meenakshi Lekhi, let me put up another number for you. And let me ask you that how do you believe this is going to be achieved? 19.7% is the tax revenue ratio which has been worked out by Mr. Jaitley. He believes that this is possible. Now, I've had a whole range of economic experts right through the day today who believe that this is an unrealistic figure, that it's not. How is this target going to be achieved, ma'am?
This target will be achieved by giving the impetus that has been given to the SMEs, basically. And in SMEs, they have given the benefit of benefit to people who are going to indulge in manufacturing. And especially the country was affected by negative growth in the industrial sector. And in fact, the duty structures were inverted. For example, I had been demanding for a very long time why is it that we are importing solar panels from China when we have so much of sunlight? Why can't we have our own manufacturing units? And looking at it from this perspective, that when you get the inputs for the manufacturing, the duty has been reduced. Similarly, on steel, that steel sheet, when you are giving protection to your own manufacturer and giving impetus to your steel manufacturer, the duty has been increased. So various such measures have been taken by virtue of which there is going to be to domestic manufacturing. And for any industry or any economy to do well, SMEs and MSME is a big sector which unfortunately did not do well during the previous regime, and so we have chosen to focus on this. On road, railways and inland water, there has been seed money of 4,200 crores. So there is a great emphasis on transportation and again infrastructure. And as I earlier mentioned, that we have increased the expenditure by increasing on capital expenses. By increasing our capital expenses, we are likely to get the returns. Whereas what the UPA government did was spending money on revenue expenses. And when you are spending money on revenue expenses, you are basically borrowing from the banks, thus making it, reduced availability of funds for others to borrow from and giving doles. Whereas in our case, we are linking even the welfare schemes with the construction, with asset creation. For example, NREGA is directly to asset creation, which it was not during UPA time. And even for agricultural labor and so on and so forth, we have done that. And every state has got some asset or the other. I mean, be it AIMS, be it IIM.
So you deny this charge which is leveled by Mr. Panda and a whole host of other individuals, that all that has happened today is that the BJP has presented a budget or has unveiled a set of policies which are nothing else but a continuation, an extension of sorts of what had been promised by the UPA.
No, I think what Panda said, and if you hear him clearly, he said certain continuations have happened, but certain changes. And that is why I'm calling it a tweaking with the policies, because there has to be some sort of continuity on the investment front. Otherwise, the investor confidence goes down. So policies need to be continued, but you can tweak it to benefit the people. And in that case, we have tweaked, for example, in real estate, we have tweaked the policy by creation of a certain fund.
So just mere tweaking is your stand.
Invest that money and get a...
Sitaram Yechuri.
I'm tweaking it to benefit. I mean, NREGA is being tweaked to asset creation.
Okay, Sitaram Yechuri of the CPM also joining us. Welcome on the program, Mr. Yechuri. Let's hear from you, sir. What do you make out of this budget? Is this a budget, as I've been looking at right since the morning, is this a budget which will promise happy days, achhe din for the country? Has it been promised earlier?
No, I don't think so. In fact, I think very soon the people of the country are going to say, please return back Anidin. So, because I'll tell you why.
Yes.
The reason why I'm saying this is, if the UPA, what I said was that soon people will be clamoring for Purane Din Hamare Lautao.
Yes, but why do you say that? Why do you say that? Because I thought Purane Din was so bad.
That's not going to really work out. That's exactly what I'm saying. You see, if the point is that the UPA had created a mess of the economy, and that mess has to be resolved or changed, or a new direction has to be given, that has not come in this budget. Because if you actually, separate the rhetoric away from it and separate also what has been promised in terms of one IIT, one IIM, etc., etc., when you look at the hard figures that back up this budget, you see there's hardly any difference. You basically see, in fact, in real terms, if you actually see, there has been a 4% decline in the total plan allocation. That is the budgetary support to the plan in this year. Now, this argument that it's already 4 months have passed and there will be 4 months before people will start, deciding on how to implement this allocation, that is really untenable, because already the movement of expenditures has already begun and it's continuing. So that is not the point. The point is that you are trying to contain your fiscal deficit.
You think this will set in more inflation? You think instead of reducing prices, it will set in more inflation?
More importantly, what I'm saying is that the budget has missed the wood for the trees in trying to understand why is growth stagnating in our country. The growth stagnation has been put at the doorstep of lowered investments, and if you increase investments, you presume that will lead to a higher growth and higher prosperity of the people. But you see, you're just missing one very, very important link, that any degree of increase in investment will produce something.
Right.
There has to be a market that can absorb that production. If people in our country, their purchasing power is declining because of this continuous inflation, because of this economic stagnation, then the domestic demand is not growing, global slowdown, and your volume of trade in the world is declining, so your export markets are declining. So where does increased investment sell its products? So the target should have been to expand the purchasing power in the hands of the people, rather than concentrate solely on the question of increasing investments in our country. And I think that is where it's missed the wood for the trees.
It's missed the wood for the trees. Hold on, Mr. Yechuri, because now you made a couple of important points directed against the BJP. Let us just hear the BJP. Let us just hear the response of Meenakshi Lekhi to the points that you're making, Mr. Yechuri.
I'll answer Mr. Yechuri, but give me one moment to answer Mr. Tiwari, and that got missed out.
Yes.
One is that complete lack of clarity on defense FDI, because I will request Mr. Tiwari to say which plant and where did they get FDI in defense. The second is BrahMos project was government to government and it was not PPP. So there is a difference. The third point which I want to answer Mr. Yechuri is that exactly what he's saying has been achieved and has been worked, because this budget is not going to be seen in isolation, but it has to be seen in connection with the budget, where you are actually laying emphasis on infrastructure development, viability of investment and job creation. Until and unless you have job creation, you can't increase the purchasing capacity of the people, and that purchasing capacity will come only when you can have larger market for people, for the produce and employment. And that employment will not come until and unless you have money to invest in infrastructure projects. So asset creation is the strength of this government, and by increasing capital expenditure and PPP model, PSU's investment, which is 2,72,000 crore odd money plus FDI, you're going to create and open the market for creating asset, which is the long-term policy, and you'll see the results.
Okay, but Mr. Yechuri, you know the argument that could be made.
How is that possible?
The argument that could be made, sir, you know, which frankly should be against the BJP, is that while the BJP was in opposition, you opposed practically every step which was being taken by the government. Therefore, my contention is that do you see any difference in what is being spoken here, either by Manish Tiwari or by Meenakshi Lekhi? Because it's just a very mutually convenient exchange of positions. That's all.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
it is not change of
I mean, there's been an exchange of roles. There's been an exchange of positions.
Yes.
No.
Mr. Yechuri is responding.
May I?
Yes. Go ahead, sir.
May I say something here? You see, the point is just by making investment avenues available, to presume investment in infrastructure will flow is just not going to happen. You've seen this PPP experience in our country with the road sector. You've seen the PPP experience in our country with the ports and with the airport sectors. You see, the point is, and you've seen the international experience of PPP. The London Transport, for instance, has withdrawn 25 or 27 PPP projects in the last year because you please understand one thing. PPP may be fashionable and maybe sound very, very fancy. But the question is, for the private, the PPP, there is an additional cost of raising finances.
Right.
And that increases the cost of the project of any infrastructure project. And eventually, who pays for that increase in cost is the people who use that facility.
Okay.
Whether it's the tolls that are there on your roads today, or the extra charges that you're paying in your private airports today. Delhi airport is the most expensive one in the world today. Now the point is, more and more of these things will only shrink your disposable income hands of the people to buy your manufacturing. Why is it that despite all these tax incentives that you have given, that manufacturing has registered a negative the whole of the last year? And you see, that is the point, is that you only way in which you can expand employment, expand the purchasing power in the hands of the people is through a high dose of public investment.
That's the whole question.
That's
the whole question. So you say that there should be a high dosage.
That's
the key. That's the key.
No.
Can I answer? Can I answer?
Okay, let Mr. Yechuri respond and then I'll take a break. Yes. Sitaram ji. Yes. Go ahead, Sita. Go ahead. Go ahead, Sita. Go ahead.
Please bear with me for a minute.
Yes. Go ahead.
Others have had their say. So just bear with me for a minute. If you are bold enough, the BJP with this sort of a condition in which it has assumed office, what India, in terms of even forget, I'm speaking as a communist leader. From the capitalist point of view, what India requires is a new deal.
Okay.
What
India requires a new deal.
A recipe for a new deal of that sort of absolutely a new deal in the sense not the old Roosevelt type of.
So let me take a break.
But a state-sponsored.
Let me take a break because Sitaram Yechuri, the point that you're now raising, sir, the point that you're raising that there should be more state investment is precisely the point which is being opposed by many individuals, that you just don't have the money to spend. Be that as it may, let me just take a break. Return on the short break.
मुझे मॉर्निंग वॉक में रुकना बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं है।
जब ये नॉनस्टॉप चलते हैं ना, तो उनकी सांस भूल जाती है। पर ये मानेंगे थोड़ी।
ये बार-बार रुक जाती है।
फिर मैं आइडिया लगाती हूँ। बीच-बीच में रुक जाती हूँ। कभी फूल तोड़ने, कभी सनराइज देखने।
अरे कभी कुत्तों के साथ खेलेगी। पर मैं झिक नहीं करता। इसे ही है ना। So, I am happy.
साथी सही हो तो किस्मत खुल जाती है और जिंदगी खिल जाती है। फेडरल बैंक, आपका परफेक्ट बैंकिंग पार्टनर।
हर बार more talk time. Get your full talk time offer. Call 123 now.
24 शहरों में 50 से ज्यादा प्रोजेक्ट, 25 डिलीवर्ड, 30 से ज्यादा अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन। इनको देख के मैं ये कह सकता हूँ, if I am the captain of the Indian cricket team, then Amrapali Group is the captain of real estate.
Amrapali Group, developing India.
होम शॉप 18's lowest price challenge. कुछ भी खरीदने से पहले देखिए होम शॉप 18.
ठीक है? खुश?
As FIFA 2014 reaches its final stage, there's one question on everyone's mind. Who will be the new champion of the world? Catch all the news, views and analysis on The Beautiful Game. At these times, only on CNN IBN.
Brought to you by Coca-Cola Open Happiness. My Life powered by Samsung Galaxy S5. Sensodyne #1 dentist recommended brand for sensitive teeth. And Jaguar Experience Bathing.
I'm Dr. Anjana Saxena. I tried various websites. They came out to be taking a lot of effort and taking a time. I did it on my tablet only. It's easier that if you sell it out, you feel that somebody else is using it. And if somebody buys it, it's even better. It's not that the smaller amount of money matters anything. It is just you feel that he's bought it because he needs it. I was very proud of the fact that I was able to sell so many things on OLX so fast.
OLX.in, base day.
Imagine a revolutionary petrol engine that perfectly balances power and mileage. An engine that saves fuel like the engine can and delivers power intelligently when you really need it.
Now, imagine all this in just one engine.
The Revitron 1.2 turbocharged petrol engine with multi-drive mode. The power of 3 engines, now in the all-new Zest from Tata Motors.
Today is the day. There are things to be made. Pull back the doors. Get the good stuff out. Set the table. Make it nice.
The Samsung Food Showcase Refrigerator. The food you love at your fingertips.
अरे भाई डिसाइड करो ना कौन सी लेनी है।
सारी दे दो। साइड प्लीज। ये कैश क्यों? मुझे भूल गए क्या? सॉरी। जहाँ भी जाओ मुझे साथ ले जाओ।
स्टेट बैंक डेबिट कार्ड, कार्ड एक, खुशियाँ अनेक। हर इस्तेमाल पर पाए रिवॉर्ड्स भी। शर्तें लागू।
This is IBN Quarters, and you are watching CNN IBN.
Now, Manish Tiwari, let me just come to you. You know, and it's interesting that the Congress is taking this position today that this is an outrightly ridiculous budget. I was listening to the comments which have been made by the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and Sonia Gandhi as well. Because fact is, Manish, that some of these steps, if not all, some of these steps could have been initiated by your party when you were in power. For instance, one comment which has been given to me is that the housing loan interest deduction raised by 50,000 rupees. This has been long due. Why couldn't the UPA take some steps like these? Would you admit today that maybe a lot what you are seeing today, or the credit which the BJP is attempting to take, is because of the complete mismatch, the complete mishandling of the economy that happened in your...
Well, Bhupen, let me reject that contention outright. And the reason why I say so is that if you look at the economy in a 10-year horizon, a 7.9% rate of growth, you know, despite two international economic crises, the economic meltdown of 2008 and the Eurozone crisis of 2012, is by no stretch a mean achievement. Coming to the specifics of, you know, what you raised, to some of the steps which have been outlined in this budget. You see, there is no denying the fact that there is a certain continuum in economic policies. It is not that because there's a change of government, so therefore, you know, everything just goes across, is just dumped. But the difference between the UPA and the current dispensation is that the UPA had a very well chiseled out rights-based entitlement program, which they consciously and assiduously implemented over 10 years. Coupled with that, there was a robust stress on growth so that these programs could be funded. The difficulty with this budget is, and it is the first budget of the new government, that it actually falls between two stools. You know, neither does it outline an ambitious program in order to alleviate poverty, neither does it outline a program as to how headline inflation and especially food inflation is going to be contained.
It creates a
Even
sentiment.
The steps which have
it
been
attempts
taken
to create a
boost
sentiment
FDI,
in order to deal with the recession.
Well, in the sense that even the steps which have been taken with regard to the FDI are extremely tentative, and I don't think they're going to inspire any investor confidence. And if you go to Mr. Yachuri's argument that you actually require public spending or public expenditure in order to boost growth, then where do your fiscal consolidation targets go?
Precisely.
So therefore, you see, here is a budget which is not backed by the appropriate numbers. You do have revenue generation, you know, showing buoyancy. You do not have expenditure being controlled and contained. And you have some very sanctimonious statements with regard to, you know, investments, hike to 49% in defense or in insurance, which they had opposed. So all in all, you know, when the finance minister presents his budget next year, you would find that over this 1 year, there wouldn't have been any progress whatsoever on any of the fronts. Unfortunately, it's an ominous prophecy which I think, but this is a prophecy which is going to come true.
Well, and surely as someone who's been a part of a party and a government which is being blamed by many for having created this economic chaos, you would certainly know. But Bijay Panda, this question that I was putting to Manish Tiwari about creation of a sentiment, about changing this negative mindset which seemed to have gripped the Indian economy. Do you believe that on that yardstick, the BJP has scored well today?
Well, clearly, right from the time of the campaign, the current Prime Minister has been saying that his top priority is to put the economy back in shape. You know, this reminds one of that famous poster in Bill Clinton's campaign war room in the 90s, which said, "It's the economy, stupid." So what this means is that has given a sort of confidence to investors and to the financial sector even before any policy decisions were taken. You have seen the result in the last 6 weeks. That sentiment has turned around. Now the time has come to back that upturn in sentiment with real policy changes. And of course, because of politics, people in various parties will say various things. But it is a reality that there has been a significant change or shift in direction in that 38,000 crores has been allotted for national highways. 15,000 crores has been allotted for the rural roads. This is very reminiscent of what Prime Minister Vajpayee did more than a dozen years ago. And I think it's in the right direction.
Okay.
Now, clearly, it is not entirely in that direction because of inflation and other fears. But I think you can only be pessimistic if you assume the growth rate of the economy will continue to be sub 5%.
Right.
I think, on the other hand, the finance minister is making a rather bold gambit that in 2 to 3 years it will be back at the 7 to 8% range, in which case these projected numbers will actually make sense.
And Meenakshi Lekhi, the other important point to raise here is that while we are talking about perceptions and how the Indian economy was going through a prolonged spell of negative image or an image crisis or a credibility crisis internationally, the one point which has been laboured on extensively by the BJP also, while you were in opposition, was a retrospective tax issue. Now, here is a case where the BJP has record, I don't know, you know, how many times you all had taken this position, ma'am, that this was a bad idea. Now you're in power, your finance minister is making a speech, and suddenly you developed cold feet. You are saying that there will be no, you have said that there will be no further cases, but as far as those cases which are in existence, you've only set up a panel. Why couldn't you deal with it?
No,
why couldn't you simply take this position that maybe it was a wrong step?
I'll tell you
because
why.
That is your stated position,
I'll tell you why. No, our stated position is that retrospective taxation policy was a basis. So
exactly.
Today on, when we have come to power, we have removed it. Now, the consequence of making it retrospective with retrospective effect will be the same problem under which that retrospective taxation is being challenged. And that's a legal issue. I cannot sit today and give a decision on whatever decisions have been taken earlier. So retrospective effect, which is the cases which are pending before the courts and tribunals and every other place, they can be decided decided on their merit. But from today onwards, no such will be implemented. That is already what we have said. And I just want to add to whatever Mr. Panda has said is that 10,000 crore for the startups is what has been given. So that is also giving impetus. SCSCs relatable to MSMEs, again 50,000 crore has been given for that. With the 20 lakh and above metros are being taken on board. So all these are, whenever we are giving impetus things, that means you need more steel, you need more cement.
I see Manish Tiwari is raising his hand. Manish Tiwari is raising his hand. Manish, you want to respond? You want to respond to the point?
Mr. Tiwari was giving an incorrect figure of 7.9 as GDP.
Okay, Mr. Tiwari.
Bhupen, in fact, on retrospective taxation, you know, it's very interesting that there is a certain amount of chicanery involved. Hear what the finance minister said very carefully. He said, ordinarily we will invoke this power. So therefore, what Meenakshi Lekhi is saying is unfortunately incorrect. It is not that they've junked retrospective taxation. They said ordinarily we will not invoke this power. And if you look at the case of retrospective taxation, which was in fact, you know, a wrong thing to do, but that was also a power which was invoked only once. So therefore, in fact, when you pointed out that on retrospective taxation, the BJP has developed cold feet, you were absolutely correct. And with regard to the cases with the litigation, of course, some of them are in arbitration and therefore they will have to be dealt through the legal process.
Right.
But if the government was really serious about continuing to walk the talk on retrospective taxation, they could have found a creative way to deal with it.
Meenakshi,
So
I think,
essentially,
am I right,
what you
Meenakshi,
are
in understanding
seeing
that the
is
finance
that
was very
clear. There were
the
policy positions which were taken, and now there's a reversal of those policy positions completely.
Let me just broaden that point. Let me just broaden that point.
In fact, I was struck by this, that the finance minister says ordinarily we will not invoke
I
this
think,
power.
Meenakshi ji, the point is this, that whether it was your opposition when you were in the opposition, your opposition to foreign direct investment, or your opposition to retrospective taxes, when you're in power, you see your position is completely changing. That's the argument being made, ma'am.
Mr. Bhupen, I have a very simple question. Show me a place where I have opposed FDI. I have opposed FDI in retail, and I continue to do so. It is FDI in infrastructure which is being continued. Of the policy which was previous government and my government has been continued. Unfortunate part is, due to policy paralysis, they never got money on the table. People did not have the trust and faith of the government, thus no money was coming in.
I'm seeing two hands
Never,
coming up. I'm seeing Sitaram Yechuri and Manish Tiwari both wanting to jump in.
2% to 6% is what has been invested in.
Sitaram
and we will
Yechuris,
show how that money can be brought in, especially with NRI funding and things.
Mr. Yechuri.
And there has been a special provision, especially with Ganga plan and several other plans.
Mr. Yechuri,
we are getting that money in.
No, let's just hear Yechuri.
And
What does
industrial clusters
where do you
which are
stand on
going
this
to
one,
be
sir?
set
Am I
up.
right or not that the BJP is doing U-turns here, U-turn after U-turn?
There's been no U-turn.
Sitaram Yechuri.
Let me give you one instance of such an. This thing is concerning the question of increasing the FDI ceiling in insurance sector. It was the BJP who agreed and supported us for a long time in not allowing it to increase from 26 to 49. And today, in one stroke, have announced it. That if they've changed their mind, perfectly okay. I mean, we'll continue to oppose because we think it is not, you see, it's not that foreign money will come into the country because you've increased the ceiling. It is that Indian savings, which amount to thousands of crores in your insurance sector, that will be put at the disposal of foreign capital to be deployed anywhere in the world for their profit maximization at the cost of the Indian hard-earned earnings of the Indian people, which they have saved in this sector.
Right.
Well, that is given, that's well known. I mean, keep that aside.
Right.
So therefore, once that they are in government, what line that they are pursuing. Now, that is, if you seriously want to debate that, what is the actual emphasis and thrust of this entire budget? That you are relying essentially on FDI and on PPP as the two avenues which will bring in greater investments into the country.
Right.
Will that solve our problem, even if that money comes? Now, that is where I have a very, very serious apprehension. That will not, primarily because, as I told you, the costs of
in the cost of financing infrastructure projects by private capital is going to be much, much more expensive than the public sector, and this has been an international experience.
Okay.
Now, if that being the case, I mean, if you are going to pass on the cost to the people, now, therefore, all that we can say is, okay, first budget, payback time budget, payback for all those who finance your election campaign, that's a different matter. But if you're talking in terms of this is putting India back onto a growth trajectory, I'm sorry, because budget has two parts, rhetoric in part A, the actual figures in part B. And if you look at part B, as I told you, in real terms, there's a 4% decline in your actual plan allocation.
Meenakshi, you want to quickly respond, and then I want to go to Manish Tiwari, because he also wanted to jump in on this one.
What are you really talking about?
Yes, Shireki, quick response, and then to Manish.
A capitalization of the banks and of infrastructure is and insurance sector is what has been laid emphasis on. IRDA scrutiny is what will decide where the money which is coming for insurance sector is being spent or taken out. Now, it is not as if my assets are going to be made available internationally for international purposes. It's the other way around, and IRDA scrutiny is a very, very tough scrutiny. The other point is when personal taxation has been raised, say from 2 to 2.5, in one case 1 to 1.5, and several other measures, and couple it with the reduction on the tax rates for the housing loan, etc., then more money is available for the people to put in back in all these formats and postal savings and all, which is again made available for infrastructure development.
Therefore, Mr.
And
Tiwari,
that is how the entire circle is
therefore,
getting to.
Don't you think that, I'm sure you all must be ruining your luck. You must be ruining your fate, sir.
No.
Manish?
May I just come in for a moment?
Yes.
I only wanted to substantiate what Sitaram Yechuri was pointing out. Meenakshi Lekhi was saying that where have we opposed foreign direct investment? Insurance was a classical case in point where not only in the standing committee, but also on the floor of parliament and outside, FDI insurance was opposed by the Bharatiya Janata Party when the government wanted to take it up from 26 to 49%. And since we didn't have a majority in the Rajya Sabha, there was a problem with that issue. And coming to this whole business about capitalization of banks, capitalization of banks have to be done by 2018 to adhere to the Basel III norms. So therefore, how is capitalization of banks, going to contribute to the growth of the Indian economy? Because till that point in time, that you do not bring the interest, the lending down, you are not going to have a spurt of economic activity. So therefore, that's the point I was trying to make, that on one hand, you're talking about fiscal consolidation. On the other hand, you're talking about a higher growth trajectory, and between these two stools, you do not have a bridge, and that's why this budget has fallen between those two stools.
Mr. Yechuri, would I be correct to say that all that we have seen today is that the first steps have been taken by the government, and for whatever reason, maybe Mr. Jaitley doesn't want to create confrontation in the very first instance itself. The government believes that you need much, much greater private participation. They are aware of that, but it's just that they believe that if they were to announce that clearly, or to take the kind of steps which they may be wanting to take at this stage of their government's tenure, maybe it will lead to disruptions in parliament, and therefore they don't want to do that. Is that the political strategy that you believe has been worked out, Mr. Yechuri?
Not at all, not at all. On the contrary, the government has been rather brazen about giving greater role to the private sector. I mean, what is all this PPP is all about? And in spite of our own experience, forget international experience, in spite of our own experience, I mean, it's been very, very forthright in saying that. So I don't think it is hesitated on that count. But all that I am saying is, all these calculations in Part B of the budget that are based on certain expectations, your revenue expectation for the year is highly exaggerated, in my opinion. What you have seen last 2 years, and now what does your economic survey tell you yesterday? That you have a negative manufacturing growth, you have a negative index of industrial production. Now, in order to turn that around, what you require is not quick fix solutions, the gross capital formation in the country is in the negative.
Right.
Now, no economy can be put back on the rails unless you tackle that problem.
Right.
No, I mean, please, for heaven's sake, come back to the economic fundamentals if you want to really change the course of the economy.
Mr. Panda,
it doesn't work on superficial gimmickry.
And
you see, I mean, increasing, let's say, increasing your tax limit from 1.5 to 2 lakhs to 2 lakhs to 2.5 lakhs.
Gimmickry.
No, given the
you believe all this
real
is
value of money that's happened with a 9% rate of a 9% rate of inflation for the last couple of years. What does this quantum of an increase in ceiling mean in real terms?
No, but my point is that at the end of the day, no, Mr. Yechury, you see, despite your opposition, maybe I should, BJ Panda, you should come in on this one. You see,
contradicting himself.
One sec, Meenakshi. Mr. Panda, the point is that the other criticism which I can pick up from what has happened today is that on the question of subsidies, the government today, Mr. Modi throughout the election campaign was talking about how he will have some kind of a formula which will deal with the problem of subsidies, the leakages which exist within the system. Do you believe that that question, has been addressed by the Prime Minister in this budget?
Okay, let me put it in the context of what my other panelists are saying, co-panelists. I think Mr. Yechury should be complimented for being consistent. His position against FDI and his... Can you hear me now?
Go ahead, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Hello? Okay, sorry. I was going to say Mr. Yechury should be complimented for his consistent stand. I mean, we may not agree with his stand against FDI and... sorry?
No, make your point, Mr. Panda. Go ahead. Nobody's saying anything.
I'm sorry, can you hear me? No. Right, my point is that... he may be, we may not agree with his point on FDI and other things, but at least the communists are consistent. Now, the other parties have flip-flopped depending on whether they are in government or in opposition, but I think it is high time that we call bygones be bygones and we focus on what needs to be done because both the BJP and the Congress have often spoken of the same things that need to be done. And you've raised the question about subsidies and targeting them. The reality is, the one good thing that the UPA government was doing was the Aadhaar project, where using biometrics, you could drastically cut down the leakages in subsidies. That is something that the BJP opposed. Now, today, I think they need to sort of adopt it and use it to cut costs because there's no way otherwise they can meet the fiscal deficit numbers that Mr. Jaitley has projected.
Right.
So today, he only made a broad statement. He said subsidies need to be targeted, but did not specify how. So I think it's just a first step taken. They need to do more exactly how they're going to target subsidies.
Okay. Yeah, Sitaram Yechury, quick final word.
Can I come in here?
Go ahead, sir. Quick final word. Yeah.
I just want to come in here. You see, all the this talk of reducing subsidies, fair enough. There's a point of view which I may not agree. But the question is, there are two types of subsidies. Look at this document that's been circulated in this budget. And look at the revenue foregone only in terms of corporate and personal income tax.
Right.
And what does the figure tell you? 1,16,000 and odd crores. Now, tax foregone from the rich is also subsidy to the rich, isn't it? Now, why are you always talking of subsidies for the poor as the millstone around your neck? I mean, do these people have to live or you want to get rid of them?
Okay.
I mean, you can always create a better society by getting rid of the poor from any society.
Well, that's...
Now the point at issue is, in spite, even if these were given as incentives for growth, 1 minute,
yes.
Even if these were given as incentives for growth, what has been the net? A negative rate of manufacturing, a negative rate of industrial growth.
Well,
so all these crores of thousands of crores that go into incentives for industry to grow in terms of tax concessions. What have they produced?
Let me just say this. As I thank all of you, Sitaram Yechury, Mr. Panda, Meenakshi Lekhi. I know Meenakshi want to make a point.
The contradiction is.
Yeah, I know. But that may be ideological opposition. That may be ideological opposition.
No, middle class is the highest there.
Okay.
Now 50,000, if you give off to the middle class, that money is getting invested back into the system, which is available for the poor.
Right.
And this is where the economics is going wrong.
Meenakshi Lekhi, Manish Tiwari, Sitaram Yechuri,
and that is
Panda.
no gratis.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you for joining me. Thank you to all of you for joining me. I'm sure that when the debate kicks off in Parliament, precisely the points which are being made there by Meenakshi Lekhi and Sitaram Yechuri will also be raised in Parliament. The only thing which can be said, perhaps to sum up what has happened today over the last 12 hours or so, is that this is just the first step which has been made by the government. It's ambitious, it's bold. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. Let's now see whether the BJP can really walk the tough talk that they have set out for themselves. If you have been, thanks so much for watching.
चौबीस शहरों में 50 से ज्यादा प्रोजेक्ट्स, 25 डिलीवर्ड, 30 से ज्यादा अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन। इनको देख के मैं ये कह सकता हूँ, इफ आई एम द कैप्टन ऑफ द इंडियन क्रिकेट टीम, देन आम्रपाली ग्रुप इज द कैप्टन ऑफ रियल एस्टेट।
Amrapali Group, developing India.
Start an active life with Real Active Fiber Plus. Keeps in the goodness of fiber, keeps out the sugar. Real Active. Come on, get active.
अपनी फैमिली कार बेचनी है या लग्जरी कार या 5 सीटर या फिर एसयूवी, जो भी बेचना हो,
डाउनलोड करो क्विकर ऐप एंड देन मोबाइल पे फोटो खींच, क्विकर पे कार बेच। नो फिकर, बेच क्विकर।
वाओ,
क्या
हॉट लग रही है।
पैदा ही हॉट हुई थी।
इसे देख के फील आ गई यार।
होम शॉप 18's lowest price challenge। कुछ भी खरीदने से पहले देखिए होम शॉप 18।
ठीक है? खुश?
The power is in your hands. Victory is at your feet. Are you ready?
Buy the Samsung Galaxy S5 and get a chance to watch Messi and Ronaldo live in Europe.
Just give up tea.
This is tooth sensitivity. That's why I recommend using Colgate Sensitive Pro Relief. Its Pro-Argin formula seals and repairs sensitive areas of teeth for instant lasting relief.
Give up tea? Never.
Colgate Sensitive Pro